So guys, what if I told you everything from the stars in the sky to the cells in your body started with the one massive explosion, and that the farthest planet from the sun might be the very first one that formed? Stick around, because in the next few minutes we're traveling through billions of years of cosmic chaos, star bites, and the first sparks of life, all the way to you. Introduction of biochemistry, structure of biochemistry. About 14 billion years ago, the universe began with the biggest explosion ever, the Big Bang. That's when subatomic particles like protons and electrons scattered through space. It was insanely hot back then. As time passed, space started to cool down, and those particles move around less. This cooling led to some particles clustering together. The first atom ever, hydrogen, came into existence. As it kept cooling, hydrogen atom built up, and soon helium, the second atom, also formed. Hydrogen has one proton and one electron. Helium has two protons and two electrons. With so much hydrogen and helium around, things start to get dense. This density formed clouds of gas called nebula. The centers of these nebula were way denser than their edges, which made the temperature there way higher too. So in the middle of these clouds, the stars were born. Early on, a newborn star is packed with hydrogen and helium at its core. And the more hydrogen and helium it has at the start, the bigger it can grow. Stars grow thanks to nuclear fusion happening in their cores. As time goes on, fusion reactions create heavier atoms like iron and nickel right at the star's core. So while the outer layers still have a lot of hydrogen and helium, heavier elements build up in the center. Our Sun was the very first object in the solar system. It formed about 6.5 billion years ago in the Milky Way. All the planets in the solar system eventually formed from it. Now, here's a question. Why do you think the farthest planet from the Sun is actually the first one that formed? Drop your answer in the comments. Next slide. Earth formed about 4 billion years ago as the sixth planet in the solar system. It had an atmosphere and chemical ingredients that made life possible. So the first chemical elements started to appear, and from that point, life kicked off with the earliest microorganisms. These tiny life formed could use sunlight and the available chemicals to get energy and build complex biological molecules out of simple ones, right here on Earth. Next slide. The living world, just like the non-living world, is made of the same atoms and molecules. But the way these atoms are organized in living beings is way more complex and structured. And that structure is that makes life possible. So yeah, how biological molecules are built totally affects how they work. Biochemistry is the science that studies these structures, interactions, and all the tiny, detailed systems going on inside living things. Evolution is basically the story of survival. Just like the Earth has evolved and gone through climate change over time, life has had to evolve right along with it. Living organisms adapt to these environmental changes either by changing internally, biochemical tweaks, or by moving to new places. Genetic change, biodiversity, and even the rise of pandemics, they all happen as ways to adapt and keep life going. Evolution is nature's response to change, and it's what keeps life alive. In the last slide, genes, proteins, organisms. Genes are transcribed into RNA and then translated into proteins. These proteins fall into complex 3D shapes, and that's how living organisms are formed. This whole process gets repeated every time an organism reproduces, usually pretty similar to the parent. But since the environment is always changing, evolution happens over time that leads to diversity. And if you zoom way out on the timeline, the first generation might end up looking nothing like the original ancestor, all because of how much transcription and translation have changed across generations. Thank you so much for listening to me in this video. I hope it's useful for you. Goodbye.